Welcome to tonight's study session, everyone. This is part two of our preflop range construction. Last week, we looked at the button and the cutoff, and we'll review those briefly before we move into the hijack and the low jack this week. So I've pulled up a button range in front of us at 40 big blinds, and we use this block of hands that are offsuit eights and suited fives for hands that we're going to open. A few more hands along the pair axis here. Some of our best high cards that are offsuit, and a few more of our best high cards that are suited, that have a little more equity. And as we move to the cutoff, we can see that the range changes, and we go with our offsuit nines, our suited sixes, but again, the pattern maintains. A few extra hands along the pair axis here, a few extra of our high card flushes, and a few extra of our best offsuit high cards. Today, as we move into the hijack, we are going to see that the strategy changes again a little bit. We are going with our offsuit tens and our suited sevens. So this block of hands here, again, with a few of these, a few of these, and a couple of these. And then our low jack starts to fold out its tens and is really getting in here with the mixed tens and jacks pure on the offsuit side, and our eights here. So for me, I developed a little cheat system for myself to try and help me memorize these ranges. So from the button where we were eights and fives, for me, there's a person who sits on the button at 40 big blinds, and it's Milt Stiegel. He was the Winnipeg Blue Bomber who wore number 85 as a football player. And so that helps me remember that it's offsuit eights and suited fives. The cutoff, we have sixes and nines. And so I picture the Big Lebowski saying, dude. And you guys can use a sports figure. You guys can use a movie star. For me, as we kind of come around here with our sevens and tens and trying to remember this block of hands that we're opening, I remember Woody Harrelson trying to pick up the 7-10 split in Kingpin, the bowling movie. And so Woody Harrelson is always sitting at this spot in the table for me. As we continue around the range, we're now in tens and eights. For me, George Orwell is sitting in this spot, writing about 1984. So for me, this is all about the 80s. So 8 and 0, 8 and 10. And if you're able to open this block of hands, and you know that you're supposed to open a little bit more here, a little bit more here, and a little bit more here, you're gonna get almost all of the combos that you're supposed to be opening pre-flop. And this is just going to be a good way for you to build a pre-flop construction range, and also a way to memorize it. So if you're struggling with memorizing ranges and what to open, try this little trick. Build yourself a little pictorial image of who's at your table in a way that will help you remember. That can be, as I said, sports stars, because they all wear jersey numbers. That's helpful. Guys who are movie stars, authors, right? Whatever it is, if you know Martha Stewart is 70 years old, you can use Martha Stewart as your 710, right? I don't know if Martha Stewart is 70, but I'd imagine she's been around for quite a while. Might have a shot. Today, before we do some trainer work, we are going to take a look at a couple of specific examples and how ranges interact and how ranges change our strategy based on where we are. Um, Today, one thing that we see on monotone boards, so this is when a flush flops, there's very little big betting. So when it's checked to us, and the big blind is going to check their range on these monotone flops, or should be checking their range to us on these monotone flops, we are going to use a small bet strategy a lot. And particularly this very small sizing, one chip or a little bit more than one chip. It's very hard for a person to defend against this size of bet very well. They're going to overfold. And there is lots of locked up equity here because both people have already made flushes. So this is something that you're just going to see as a strategy that is going to weather well regardless of position and regardless of stack depth. And so in your game, you can just kind of build this in already. The next thing we're going to look at is paired boards. So the low jack raises, and we get a call, and we see this board, Jack, Jack 5. Now, if we remember, right, from the low jack, we are suited 8s and offsuit 10s. So we are well in here with a large number of jacks, right? And pretty good ones too. The small blind, or the big blind who defends, actually has more jacks, but the problem with him is that this opponent has all kinds of other garbage. Even though they have a lot of jacks, they just have this huge swath of trash, which makes it very hard for them to defend this Jack, Jack 5 board. So when they check to us, our strategy is, again, very similar. You can see 80% of our range is just betting one little chip. As the card that's paired is more prevalent in our range, we get to use these small bets a lot. Now, what happens when the card is not in our range? We'll look at that here on Jack 5-5, where we have Ace 5, King 5, and 6-5, but our opponent has all these other 5s in here and a bunch of these 5s across here. Ace, King 5, King 5, 6-5, and 4-5. And so we have a lot more checking, but we still use this very small size on this paired board. So one thing that you can do is to be cautious with your betting in these spots. Now, look at two more examples here. This one is on a board where we were the button. Now, remember, when we were the button, we have a wide range of our offsuit 8s and our suited 5s. So we have all these kings and jacks, but we still have a lot of other stuff that kind of misses this board too. So we have some checks, and we have lots of small bets because our range here is pretty wide against the wide range of our opponent. When we move to the low jack, the earlier position, we lose a lot of this garbage, which misses the king and the jack, and our range gets compressed. As our range gets more and more compressed around these cards, our bet sizes go up. We still have almost half the time betting here, but against our villain, we also now have 40% of our range betting on these bigger sizes, half pot, 80% pot or even over pot. And very few checks here because our range is so much more compressed around these kings and jacks. So as we do some solver work today and we start to look at playing from an earlier position, the board texture is going to flavor how we use our bet sizings. That's something we didn't see quite as much last week when we saw just a lot of bet small, bet small, bet small. We'll take a look at that. And then next week, when we move to even earlier positions, we're going to see even more big bets more frequently and bigger sizings being used. So without further ado, we'll move into some trainer work.
All in.
Hey, Viv, welcome to the party today. All right. Am I set up? I believe I am. All right. Jack 10 offsuit. Is this going to make it into our hijack opening range?
Very bottom, I think.
We're not nits.
Yeah, in we go. Let's go. We got a call. All right. Monotone flop. 2 high cards. Marginal made hand. Check. Bet. Bet small. Bet micro. Or use a bigger size. Does anyone want to give it a poke today?
Check.
Okay.
I think we bet
a
on
small.
monotone boards, but very small, I think.
Very small from Larry.
I go small as well.
Small or very small?
Very small.
Maybe 2. Go.
You can see this is going to be betting. Betting small and betting very small are both fine here. Our marginal made hand also has a bit of check here. This board is very connected with straight possibilities. With the king and the 10, queen jack's already a straight draw. With the 10 and the 7, 8, 9 is already a straight draw. This board is super draw heavy, which kind of makes us want to size up, but it's a monotone board, so we really don't get to size up very much. And so in a spot where normally we would do a lot of small betting, this board is just too dangerous. And so there's a bunch of checking, but everyone who said bet small, it is definitely a very prominent part of the strategy here and not a mistake to bet either of these sizes, even though this is giving you the double check. I'm giving you the double thumbs up for betting either of these sizes. Ooh, he gives us a little check raise. Continue or give up?
The bet's too small for us to give up. I think we just call.
Okay. It is very thin, but we are not giving up second pair quite yet. Well, he check raised us and then checked. Does anyone want to stab again or check?
I want to stab again just to see if the solver will double check raise.
All right. Tempting fate.
Yeah.
How big do you want to stab, Larry?
I would check actually, but it'd
Okay.
be interesting to see if it will double check raise. I think this is a check.
I agree that this is very likely going to be a check. There could be a very small frequency of this maneuver here. No, it is pretty prominent. And it does use the micro size again. I am slightly surprised because I am check raising, or I am checking a ton here with my marginal made hand that's already been check raised once. But on a check raise and then check line, the motion is to bet again a lot. So it's not surprising. Our specific combo was being
Jack 10 off.
checked off.
I got a question here.
Sure.
Is it that because if it's a monotone board, this in many ways comes down, the predominant issue is who has more ace of spades or queen of spades here. And that kind of is the priority as far as our strategy.
Yeah, the queen and ace of spades. We're both going to have a fair amount of it. If we take a look at ranges here on the turn, flushes are taking a look at made flushes, right? Our opponent has all of these small flushes. We tend to have these bigger flushes. So he has more flushes for a little bit more of his range, 11% of his range compared to ours, it's only 9.7. So it's not a huge difference. The difference is that we tend to have bigger flushes when we have a flush, and he tends to have smaller flushes. Reiner, you have a question?
Yeah, I guess a question and a comment. Question going back to the options. It looked like the bet 5.5, 5.52, and check were really, really close. So check got the double check mark, but I just want to confirm, like, if I'm reading this right, they're a percentage apart. They're like EV wise, they're really, really close. Or sorry, bet 2.8 rather.
Yep.
And
next week, oh, sorry, go ahead, Reiner.
No, you go ahead and then I'll make the comment.
Yeah, next week, we're actually going to look at Kelly bet theory and why GTO Wizard sets things up like this and how that relates to our pre-flop range, our pre-flop bet sizing, particularly at different stack.
Okay.
A little sneak peek at the next week. Go ahead with your comment.
The comment was me taking a stab at Gabriel's question. Is it likely that the opponent has more ace of spades just for the line to this point, that we would have bet larger on the flop with any ace of spades in our hand? Like that our flop action basically eliminates the ace of spades from our hand.
Let's take a peek. Back here on the flop, our ace of spades, single ace of spades, is definitely very featured in betting pretty much all across the line here. Right, we can isolate to the single spade.
You forget to include, I think.
Yeah. Set up to, I set up to exclude. Include. There we go. Single spades. So we have a fair amount of our ace of spades that is betting here on the flop. That does kind of take this bet 1.2 line, right, as well as the bet 2 line. So back we go here to our solution that we were on. And then his strategy, his check raises when we take this line. He has some bluffs with his bottom pair, right? He has some made flushes that are check raising here. 64, 63, 62, 52. All of these are check raising a piece and calling as well. So he has a bunch of flushes that take this line with a check raise. He certainly has the ace of spades, which is free to check raise, right, on all of these hands. And then his equity bluffs would be his sevens here, right, which have a bit of equity and able to turn a stronger hand, even though they're not a flush. So But we did take a check line here. So continue on, and he's probably just going to bet a lot. Ooh, do we risk reopening the action here?
I think we check.
I think so too. Probably just give us some single spade hands here. 7. So there we go. He had flushes and he had 7s. When his 7 doesn't pick up equity on the turn, it checks. And it just gets the showdown against our 10.
Pete, can you just look at the big blind's range on the turn after they check raise? I just want to see what percentage of their range they're actually checking after check raising on the flop.
So generally the motion is whenever something doesn't pick up equity, when it check raises as a bluff, it's going to check on the turn. And so his motion here on this ace turn, all of these 7s that check raised as a bluff are all shutting down. Right?
I see.
He continues with all kinds of these flushes, right? That continue barreling for a medium size. He sometimes continues with the ace of spades as a bluff to match all of these value hands. And then here his high-low combos that unblock us having the king or the queen or jack of spades particularly want to bet, right? Like his ace jack wants to check because it blocks too many of our continues holding both the ace and jack of spades. But his ace 6, ace 5, ace 4, and ace 3 and ace 2 as flushes all want to bet because we can call with a single queen or jack of spades here a lot. And then he does have some bluffs here where he's just bluffing queen 9, right? The gut shots and the straight draws that have a spade here that are inside these connections.
Peter, did you say that all of his 7s that he check raises with will check on turn?
The general motion is whenever you don't pick up equity, your bluffs want to check, right? And so all of these 7s were check raising for him on the flop at some frequency. And so they all pretty much shut down here on the turn, with the exception of this queen 7, which is still a gut shot. Right, so a bit of an anomaly on this one that continues on.
Can I ask you a question about the why of the check raise?
Sure.
So this is a little esoteric, but it kind of served the purpose of shutting us down. And so he was able to get to showdown with his 3rd pair or 4th pair.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if that's the strategy here, or that this on a board where big blind has more flushes and he check raises us on flop with a sub marginal hand, a marginal mid hand, and then he gets to the check, he gets to showdown without any additional betting from the opposition player. I mean, it seems like an effective strategy.
So to be able to check raise your value, you have to be able to check raise some bluffs. And normally you're going to check raise straights, draws, and flush draws, and things that can turn an improved hand. On a monotone board, it's hard to turn an improved hand here without another spade rolling off. And a spade, when you have 2 spades, it's going to be very hard for a spade to roll off. And so here, it takes bottom pair. And if a 7 rolls off, right, if this ace of hearts becomes a 7 of hearts, big blind strategy, checking 23% and blasting, because now his range is completely contained of flushes, trip sevens, and some bluffs that are in the straight realm here. But when you check raise this, when you check raise bottom pair here, and your equity improves, you get to barrel. And so here, their value is still good, and their bluffs got there. And so this is the idea of being able to construct a range that is very dangerous and hard to play against, because is the person bluffing? Is the person not bluffing? And so when we saw the ace of hearts, it's really kind of an action killer. But you can see when we hit the bluff card here, the 7, his range just goes wild. And it's all big betting too, right? Like there's 1% small bets, 23% checks, and 80% pot and 50% pot here is 55% pot. So it's just going hog wild.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, no problem. If anyone ever has questions during a spot where we could do a little more explanation, by all means, feel free to stop and explore a spot. We are here to learn together as a community. So, low jack, pocket 3s. We're gonna stick it in. And let's
That's
take,
just raising. You said we're sticking it in.
well,
Right, we're
Oh.
not jamming 40 big ones? Okay, let's bet a half pot or some shit.
so we have a hand that contains 3 high cards. Our slightly compressed range is gonna hit this board a lot.
I definitely hit this board with my 3s.
Yeah.
Bet it. Bet it.
How big? How big?
2.
People
Two.
size up on this board.
I go 3.35.
2, 3. Anyone pulling out the really big guns?
5.
I'm sure large could be okay, but I think that since there's a mate straight on the board, we don't go as big. Can't go as big. And the 2-tone also lowers our size. We want to go bigger on boards where there's 2 straight draws, but not a straight. So I do like that 3.35 size.
Okay, we'll take a peek, but I got a little bit of an itchy finger here. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
you
go
were the
big.
double check.
Oh yeah.
So again, this
We do
board,
open all the offsuit king 10, so let's go. You
yeah,
definitely
like
have it.
this board is bread and butters and pickles on the plate, please. We have sets of aces, we have sets of queens, we have sets of jacks, we have king 10, the maid straight, all at full frequency. We have all the 2 pairs here, right? We are just hammering this range. And as you open from earlier and earlier position and play with a tighter and tighter range, like it is just time to go, right? You can find a little bit of small betting here, but this is a spot where you want to front load the value. Now, what do our pocket 3s do? Well, they just kind of come along for the ride with all our value. So the hand that wants to check most, pocket kings. What a miserable board for pocket kings, eh? All right.
There is no checking.
There's no
There
checking.
There's no
Check.
checking.
Yeah, check in the bank. Let's go. Either way, the 3.5 size is also just fine here. So if you bet this size, it's okay. When you get called, equities now shift because this guy is going to fold a lot of garbage.
Does it also
So
matter that we're unblocking there? I don't know. I guess they are. I was gonna say we're unblocking their folds, but everything they have that would be Broadway would be a straight card.
texture doesn't really change here. doesn't complete the straight, which is already completed, doesn't change the flush draw, which is already there. Does our hand want to put in more chips?
I think we continue our story.
Okay,
7,
no one betting?
right? E7, bet 7.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Betting 7?
Yeah, I think we continue our story.
Okay,
I go 4.2.
okay. I think we folded out a lot of the trash, and this hand has a marginal made component. I think it's going to check a lot, but we'll give it a blast and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, blasting more.
So even
Bigger.
bigger.
Yeah. So this hand needs to generate fold equity if it wants to continue, and so it even picks the bigger sizing here. But again, we still have pocket aces, queens, pocket jacks, ace queen, ace jack, king 10, and this person's folded out a lot of their garbage, but they still don't have the best of it. So if we're gonna blast, it's gonna be big. So when we take this 10 sizing, we're really hoping for a fold here. Get a call. Oh,
This is a give up.
this is a
Yeah.
good one.
Like the worst card.
It is a give
Oh.
up or stuffing the turkey.
I would never be able to jam you.
I got to admit, I am very heavy on team give up here too. But our range just nails this so well that the jack is still a good card for us. And so we take a look at showdown, and he just held on 2 streets with a naked ace. If we blast that river, he's probably folding that ace.
Does he fold here? That is, if we pass her.
Let's take a look. When we blast river, if we go all in, his response with ace 7
He's
is
indifferent.
primarily folding. Right, so this blue part is his folds, and this green parts are his calls. And ace 7 off is when he holds the 7 of spades and blocks our value of our flush, he wants to call. And when he doesn't have the 7 of spades, he wants to fold. And it's a very marginal spot for him. So without the 7 of spades, he would have folded here. So we would have got him off of his ace. It's interesting. On a board like this, when this card comes and you blast and the guy calls, I usually mark that player CFTP. Stands for can't fold
And-
top pair. And when you see that tag, you know that you get to value bet river bets pretty big against those opponents. So
Speaking of population, I would say after our large turn bet,
I'm a CSTP. It works a lot of times though, man. It works, I swear. But sometimes it's not that smart.
What was that? What's that stand for? CSTB.
Can't fold top pair.
yeah,
Sometimes I'm a CSMP. Or maybe a CSBP. I don't recommend a CSBP though.
well, speaking of population, after our very large turn bet, I would argue population's gonna overfold on turn. So
yeah.
we maybe should have more checks on river than some of our.
One time I was in a Matt Affleck live stream. I was watching him play, and I was like, "Is that the second pair of fold in ICM?" And he was like, "Bro, that's a fold even when there's no ICM."
I heard him mention you I watch lots of his videos and I heard him mention you win the second place or cash in a score. Did you hear that before, Viv? He talks about you. He mentioned your name, like he mentioned Viv. So it might have been for a while though. I think it was an older video.
Oh, well, I don't, it probably was an older video because I don't really subscribe to it as much. But I was saying, he was like, that's a fold even in non-ICM. And I'm like, oh, okay. Oops.
Yeah, Vic you had a big score last week too, didn't you, Viv?
Last Sunday, this Sunday, I lit money on fire, but it happens sometimes.
Well, welcome back to you studying hard. What happens when you light money on fire? You double down on your studying.
No, I study at either way.
Used to. Viv's a great example of a person who puts in the time studying and has been rewarded with lots of big tournament scores lately. She's heating up. All right, monotone board. We get a little bet, right? Primarily, our strategy just wants to bet a lot. And we get check raised again.
Oh my gosh. Just fold this one. I think we need, like, we have a lot of, don't we have a lot of one stage? We don't need to call this.
All right, yeah, this is
Yeah,
just a,
that's a fold.
we don't have a pair, we don't have a spade. Are you defending ace king of diamonds here is my question.
That's a good question.
You call this check raise with ace king of diamonds.
2 overs, I would say.
Yes,
Yeah, you do.
yes.
All right, let's take a peek, see.
I don't think it's a very high EV play, but I think
So
you do.
it's definitely not a high EV play. Ace king of diamonds. All of these ace kings are mixing folds, right? You really want to have a pair to come along for the party here. While normally 2 overs is okay to float to a small check raise, on this type of board where he's check raising, like probably he's check raising some 3s and some 2s and a bunch of flushes and some straight draws, some ace 5, some ace 4. Like our ace king is just really going to struggle here. If your opponent's fine to check raise on this board, it's okay. Oh, gross. Ace king, no good. All right. King 3. Is this in our raising range from the low jack?
No,
No?
Nope.
Oh,
King
all
5.
right.
King 5 is probably the lowest.
King 5 staying alive. All right. I get. All right. From the slightly later position of the hijack, what about queen 4?
I think this is a few pips.
it's a mix maybe.
Nope, not even close.
Fold.
Not even close. Really from off the
That's
bank.
me.
All right, let's take a quick peek at that range again.
I think it's like queen 7, queen 8. Maybe I'm in it.
Queen 8, I think you're right. That was hijack or low jack?
6.
No, I'm just in it.
Hijack, remember, 7-10 split.
Yeah.
So if you're opening that 7-10 line, you can get an extra queen, maybe an extra 2 queens, maybe an extra 2 kings. But again, if you remember this bulk of the strategy, the 7-10 split, and you miss out on queen 6 and 9-6, these are 0 EV hands. Right? So if you don't play them really, really well, they're just going to be hard to make money with. But you just want to get this block of hands, 7s and 10s. All right. Let's go. Next one. 7-10 split.
Mm-mm.
Low jack. Getting in here with this suited 7?
Not sure for keeping blind.
No,
Or is
I
it
think
10
this is the edge. I think this is
we need
a
an
raise.
8 there.
Need an
I
8?
think it's a fold.
8. A hair of getting in here. But remember our range? Low jack, 10s and 8s. All right. I did leave a few of these in here just on the cusp so that we'll have some spots to look at. But
That's good.
most of these are just slam dunk raises, like this one. Slam dunk raise.
I got a question. So I see it's betting at 2.3. When do you drop down to 2.2? Like, how do you guys switch your bettings? Because I know I see sometimes like I watch you guys and you guys all have different betting sizes. Is it
Glad you asked.
depending? Is it depending who's, like, if you know you got certain players at the table, do you bet different?
So for me, my bet size varies with how many chips we have in front of us. And so that changes for me at 20 chips, right? I move up into a 2.1 size. At 35 chips, I kind of move into a 2.3 size. At 60 chips, I move into a 2.6 size. And at 100 chips, I move into a 3.1 size. And so it's an element of being able to build a pot. And we're going to take a much more close look at that next week when the theory of how we play our ranges for under the gun are a little smaller. And we'll look at the Kelly bet theory. That's going to talk about those sizes. Now, I will say, I know a lot of players who play a lot of tables, right? So they'll be playing 16, 18 tables. And so for them, because they're big winning players, they're able to do that. They don't need to generate quite as many chips in quite as many spots because they're able to play very well with the GTO model post flop. So they use kind of a standard size and don't vary their bet size. But if you're struggling to make money in poker, or if you're a losing player and want to get better, using a variable bet size preflop is something you can do immediately to improve the chips that you win out of pots that don't go to show.
Makes sense.
How does that variable raise first stand? How's that affected by the effective chip stacks around the table?
So the more chips a person has in front of them, the more your implied odds hands are able to realize equity and are able to acquire chips after particularly the turn and the river. And so your value hands and your bluffs correspondingly want to generate a little more pressure and a little more fold equity. You don't want the big blind. When you bet 2 big blinds and the big blind has 20 big blinds, it's 10% of his stack. But when you bet 2 big blinds and the big blind has 100 big blinds, right? It's only 2% of his stack. It's so little that you want to size up because that cumulative effect of sizing up pre-flop from 2 big blinds to 3 big blinds allows you an increase in the amount of chips that go into the pot on the flop, and then allow a greater increase to go into the pot on the turn, and then a greater increase when they fold on the turn, you've picked up a couple extra chips. And that's something that when you just open to 2.2 or 2.1 big blinds across all the spectrum, you just don't generate those extra chips when a player folds on a turn bet, for example. And so I'm a big proponent of using variable bet size, but again, that is a point that is best for players who are limited in the amount of tables that they're playing. Playing 1 or 2 tables, it's not really that hard to just even have a chart right next to your computer. Hey, I'm this deep. This is how much I should be opening with. And so we'll look at that, as I said, in a little more detail next week. Oh, Jack 9 got 3 bets. Are we going to defend this? One
I think
gap.
this is cusp and what we call.
going to be in the middle of our range.
Seven.
We're opening 7,
Yes,
10
I-
here.
The sizing is big. I will fold.
I think so. What do
Okay.
you, it's too big. You wanna call though, don't you? Yeah,
I want to call. So
in
the
position.
way that I think about this, the hijack, remember we're opening our suited 7s and our offsuit 10s. And so I want to start by folding my offsuit hands because my suited hands in position are going to weather a little better. So I'm going to start by folding my offsuit 10s, and then I fold my suited 7s. And then I'm going to fold my offsuit jacks, and then I'm going to fold my suited 8s. And then I'm going to fold my offsuit queens, and then I'm going to fold my suited 9s. So by the time we get to this jack 9, I think I've already folded a pretty big chunk of my range. So we'll take a look at this here. Oh yes, Al has just dropped it in chat. Some pre-flop raise first in suggested bet sizings. Very good. So yeah, so as you can see, we are the hijack. So we have folded kind of 1 pip here, 1 pip here, 1 pip here, 1 pip here. We start folding this pip, and we start folding this pip. But for me, jack 9 makes it in. Right? So if we think of kind of folding a couple of pips off of our range, jack 9 for me is going to defend here. But if you're folding here, this one's probably okay. It's mixing folds, so it's not going to be a spot where you print a lot of money. Ooh,
I fold that because this is exactly the spot I don't want to be in.
you don't want to be in here?
Yeah.
I do want to be there. I check though.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I barely checked, but look how much EV we have here. 10 big blinds worth of EV. Seems pretty scary. Oh, the straight completed though. The flush is down. He's checked twice.
Bet it.
I think we have to start betting for value. And I think we polarized. I think we had 10 or 15.
Yeah, check or bet big, right?
Yeah, check or
Okay.
bet big.
I like the white or blue. I think it's gonna mix between those.
Yeah, this 9 also completed the straight.
Yeah, it's
So-
pretty wet.
I think
Does he
would-
have any? Does he have any queen 10 suited that he 3-bets? I think
Yes.
that's
his queen 10 off that he 3-bets for sure.
okay.
I don't
If
think
we
he has
bet,
queen 10 suited.
if we bet 5, we have this perfect stack size to push all in if we want on the river.
5 gives a pretty good price to a flush draw and a straight draw. Though.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. This one wants to generate a little bit more fold equity. We don't want him to continue with a gut shot and a flush draw and an over and lots of combo draws here. And he could afford to pay this price a lot because he's still here with a king sometimes and stuff too. Oh, could we pick a better river?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think this is a check.
Check.
Yeah, you have.
yeah.
Um,
I don't think we beat very much here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we really only beat ace king here and aces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, very lucky. All right. But yeah, combo ace 9. I should have taken a look, but yeah. All right. Up. Suited 7s. And ace paired board low. Ooh.
So I don't think he has that many twos. I might be getting mixed up with cash ranges, but I think we do get to bet here. And I think we size up a little bit on this board, if I recall.
This is a board we're gonna get check raised on a lot.
Why is that?
Because it's actually, you know what? Just because it's an ace high board, even though it's a low paired board, we might not get check raised as much as if it was like a queen or something. But I think just because there's two low cards and we're against the big blind, we're gonna get check raised a lot. Just because he has all the twos and we don't.
I think it's a valid point. He only has the suited twos, I think.
Yeah, he doesn't
any
have
of
too
the
many
offsuit
twos.
Yeah, he's got all the suited twos and then ace two off.
Yeah, he's in here with 7-2 of clubs and 8-2 of spades. So I think it's gonna see some small sizing. Wouldn't surprise me to see some checks though. This hand has a chance to double barrel or to delayed C bet here too. He also has a lot of aces.
But
It's even smaller. Yeah. So again, my thought here, the micro sizing, we saw that earlier, paired board drives down our bet size, right? That's more prominently shown in his range than ours, and we just get a fold from a better hand, so that was good. 4, raise it up. Ooh, happy days.
Hmm,
So I think we go by the same theory that you just gave us. I mean, I think this is a less, we still size down.
Yeah, just
super
give it a
Size
little
down
bit.
range. Yeah, we tiny bet.
Primarily tiny again. The 4 is represented better in his range than our range. We're only here with ace 4 and king 4 probably. Oh, very happy days.
just a call.
That's a pure call.
Perfect. Keep the fish on the line. Let's go. Now he checks. Do
So
we give him this?
do we start thinking about geometric sizing so we can shove river with a 1-to-1 SPR here?
I agree.
Seems good.
3.6.
So that would
think it's
put
gonna be-
8 more and get us to 25. So maybe we size up 6 so we can shove river comfortably.
So I don't know that we're going to be able to get all the chips in very often here. Because remember, if he turns equity, he's going to bet again. So like if he turned diamonds, he would probably still bet. He's probably still going to bet a 4 if he has a 4. 10's good for us, right? Our range of cards that continue here. So I think it's probably still going to bet pretty small, but we can take a peek.
I like third pot.
5 chips, 6 chips.
That's what I would have bet, but
Yeah,
what do I know?
6.
Nope, it
There
is
we go.
choosing this, and it is purely choosing this. Great instincts on building
Wow.
the pot. I would not be getting my value here with these small sizings. So let's take a look at the strategy here and make sure it's just not this one hand doing it. And so you can see that the 9.85 size features very prominently and is the primary choice here throughout the entire range. It does have a tiny little bit of this micro bet as well.
I mean, I think we just often polarize on 10, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess he check raise, so that changes everything. So
He check raised, and so when we bet again, we have a little bit of small sizing and a lot of big sizing here, right? Twice as much of the 85 as the 5, and 1.5 times this over the 3.6 big blinds. Combos that are doing it are mixing here. Right, so these are hands that turn the gut shot jack, hands that can get better hands to fold. Right, your value hands that have a queen in them, right, are all using this sizing. So you should just fold here a lot. What a gross check raise, eh? Ace deuce. Are you guys finding this ace deuce check raise on here?
Hmm.
3-4-4.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because
Yeah, it's a paired
paired
board, right?
board, but I don't find it.
Over, back to the straight. All right, ace six offsuit. Is this going to get in here from the low jack, or is it too weak?
It's just fold.
Fold.
All right, fold the laundry. Wait for a better hand. Go with aces. How about ace nine? Is that better?
And is that low
Yeah,
jack?
I think you play
Yeah,
that.
that's
a
our
raise.
bottom. That's right at the bottom.
Right at the bottom. I like the sound of that. Hijack ace nine. Six, 3, 2, 45 is a made straight. Is in his range and not ours.
I think it checks a lot.
Mm,
So this board, I think, is going to check 60% of the time, and when it does bet, it's not going to use these sizes. It's going to use these sizes.
mhm.
Take a quick look at that.
Bet half pot.
Half pot or more. All right. Thanks for checking in tonight, Eric. Oh yeah, look at that. Just rips out the sizing when you want to go. You want to bet, it's half pot or over pot. A little bit of the two as well, but not very much. And then highly checking this board. A specific combo with the ace nine. Has a little bit of blasting and a lot of checking. He gives us a 2 big blind bet. This just a give up.
I'm folding it. That's in his range. And we got nowhere to go.
Oh, I am folding this too. I am never finding these raises.
I
That
hate
is
this
so
computer.
spicy. All right, give it a call at least. Oh, these eyes so gross. Uh-oh.
You
So I
gotta
think we
call it
just-
then, right? If we
do
had
we
bet
have to
called
call?
the,
Not calling, I'm
look,
raising.
We have the ace
oh yeah,
of
aces
hearts.
hearts. Good eye.
16 or 35, Dooley.
I don't think we get to all in. I think just
16.
16.
3.5x pot seems a little excessive. But if
Still
you
in there.
find
Wow.
it's not that bad. Yeah. But that also tells you that when you get here with the ace of when you make the ace high flush here, if you have ace nine of hearts, you can just rip this pot too. 3.5x pot.
Dooley, you're from Ontario, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Ooh.
that's what I thought.
He gives us the ripperoni and we fold.
Yeah,
King
he's
high.
lucky.
Oh,
Too bad we
so
didn't have the
sick.
other heart. That would have been a nice one.
Now, how often do you see a one big blind inducing block at that on river, right? That's a rare occurrence.
Check. King 8-7. Rainbow board. Lots of straight
It's like
draw.
Scary.
a small but frequent bet. 1, 2, or 2.
1.2 or 2. King, mid. He's gonna connect heavily with this portion of the range here. But the king makes us want to bet. I don't think we get to check this king very often. So
And we have fours.
check 60% of the time, primary response. I would not be checking this board very often. I would be tempted to size up here too.
I wonder if
Me
that's
too.
unique to the.
Hand in a vacuum is meaningless. What does your range want to do? Yeah, your range does have a lot of big bets here. But pocket fours is just not one of them.
Yeah, I kind of want to play it similar to that board when we had pocket threes on like ace jack queen or whatever it was.
I see. It chooses threes and twos as the big bluff because pocket fours could still technically run in the straight with a 6 and a 5. Pocket fours don't need to generate the fold equity that threes and twos do because they have slightly better straight equity. Right? And you take the dog for a little run. Okay. We get the queen. We bet that flop. Queen is kind of neutral for us. No draws really complete here. We have one of the suit. Ooh. I'm probably gonna check here. It wouldn't surprise me if it polarizes occasionally here. A little bit of 8.4.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could do either. We can polarize big. Yeah, I would bet 8 here, but I think you can check too.
If this is the queen of clubs or the queen of diamonds, I'm gonna check pure, but yeah, primarily 8.4. Right? That 4 of hearts. Just get all the folds from his spades and his diamonds that floated the flop. But checking's also okay here and is the primary response. But when you look at these two combined, 23 and 36%, they represent a majority of what the strategy wants to do. So even though this is the highest frequency individual occurrence, the strategy overall as a whole wants to bet and wants to polarize. And when we check the turn, we're just going to check river here. Just lose to an 8. Oh, we win. Lucky day.
Does not have the right combo to bluff.
Yeah. Queen 10. Would raise. Ace high board from the low jack.
I wonder if the wheel availability changes our betting pattern.
I don't know that he's defending a lot of 5-2, right? The double gapped offsuit. He'll have the 5-2 suiteds, but I think this is just gonna bet. Very small or small, just kind of targeting the auto folds. And we get check raised, and it's the time that he's just gonna beat me. Okay. I'm gonna take a quick peek here. Well, let's. So yeah, down here is a spectrum of what all of our hands are going to do on all of the flops that can come. And so these ace high flops Paired aces, we're just gonna bet a lot. Ace with some broadways like kings, we are going to bet a lot. Ace with queen, we're going to bet a lot. We're gonna have some sizing up with all these aces, kings, queens, jacks. But once we start to get to ace mid and ace low, we do not have our polarized bet sizes here. And then that pattern kind of repeats itself in the kings. Paired kings and the kings with queens and kings with tens and kings with nines all have big bets. And then king low is lots of betting because the king wants to bet, but does not want to bet very big. And then the same pattern kind of repeats itself in the queens, right? And the jacks, although jacks just more betting, big betting throughout. Tens with cards have more betting. And that seems to continue pretty much all the way through in this spot. So I just want to take a look at the overall general strategy here. Our queen 10 gave it up. We'll do a couple more here. Low jack, king deuce, is this in range? Hold it out. All right, knight ascension. And 10-9 off.
So this is a fold.
Easy fold. Good job, guys. Way to pick him out. Low jack, not getting there. High jack, pretty close. Ace queen.
Fold it. Why not?
Fold it, fold it, fold it. Get out of here.
I just know we're in trouble this hand. I know it's coming. It's one of those rare Helmuth folds. We're in
Oh,
big
yeah.
trouble this one.
Well, two good cards for us. All kinds of connectivity. The queen of spades. Are we betting? Are we checking? If so, how big?
Bet good. 2,
Bet two.
maybe more.
I think it's gonna mix between 2,
And
3 and checking.
Find all three of these. I think that's probably going to be pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 5, and check. Again, the motion, betting small is just fine. It's represented with 50% of the range, right? Betting big is represented with 40% of the range here. So the general motion is that it wants to bet this board a lot, right? The king with the queen, and it's going to mix heavily. So you're really not going to get yourself into a wrong spot on the flop, no matter what you do. But the one thing, and I started with this beginning, is don't always choose this default size as you get to earlier and earlier position. Consider including more of these big bets, particularly on the dangerous flops for you. He just folds 9-7.
Helmuth was wrong.
Raise. So now the shoe's on the other foot. We have a king, but then we have low. Do we ever want to check with this ace of spades? We want the chance to blast turn with this ace of spades.
I think it's a bet small again.
Small or micro?
See,
Yeah,
I'm thinking
1.2.
about what I would do with a king here, like king 10 or king queen or king jack or whatever. And I think I want to bet huge. Like I want to bet like 5 big blinds or something. But like I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do with an ace of spades. Like it's good for us. We're blocking the flush. So what are we getting value from if we do bet? All his trash, 7-8, open enders.
We want, I think we'd like folds here with ace high.
Let's consider what all of our kings are gonna do here. So we are gonna have some king six and king five, two pairs here. Right, from the hijack, we're gonna have some suited kings that got here. We're gonna have some king seven and some king eight that have some straight connection. So for me, I'm going to bet my king seven, my king eight, my ace king, my king queen, and probably my king jack, and then my king 10. I'm actually probably going to protect my checking range with my king 10 and maybe my king 9 here. So take a look at this strategy and see how that fares up. Trying to find some kings to protect our range with here. And all of them are going to be pretty small. So ace king wants to have some big bets, and king queen wants to have some big bets, and king six and king five want to have some big bets. And then the one that it wants to check here the most is king seven. Right? I would be using these kings to check more and not using these. But it uses the king seven and the king four. I guess it has king four in range. I probably struggled to find king four at more than a hair frequency.
I wonder if it's because those kings just have like the backdoor equity as well. So maybe because of that, it chooses to protect its checking range with that portion of the kings. I don't know.
Yeah, like these ones, the king seven of diamonds and king seven of clubs, they don't have the flush equity, right? Like you can't have the king of spades and you can only have the king of hearts, right? With this big equity hand, right? Backdoor flush. But yeah, it looks like it doesn't factor the flush so much. It just factors the size of the kicker as the dominant thing, because you can see that as you move up, it's 5.3, 5.4, 5.6, 6.1, right? And 7.2, right? Like the kicker is directly dependent on how much EV is here. It's less related to the straight, right? Which is less important thing. And holding a 7 probably blocks the combos that he is going to continue with that pay our value. Like when we have king 7, he's less likely to have 6, 7, and 5, 7. And so for us having a 7 here is bad. I didn't really think of it that way, but it's pretty clear to me now that we see the solve. It's funny how everything is easier when you look back upon it in retrospect. So betting small, very normal part of the strategy. Checking, also very normal here. And of course, we get check raised. The ace of spades is never going to fold here. Even though it's very thin, it's an over to the king, and it has a backdoor flush, and it can turn a backdoor straight. On the Broadway continuation, and look at
Wow. Why did he just want it in there?
all of our back doors are no longer very happy here.
He just got 2 pair.
Oh,
That
yeah,
is
I don't know.
spicy.
What do you have?
Well, so he's going to have some bluffs here that contain combo draws that are spades that contain an 8. Right?
Yeah, I can
So
see
he
combo
has,
draw, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like he's going to show us jack 8 of spades here sometimes. Right? So a hand that check raised with the flush draw and then turned equity, but has no showdown. And he has some value.
Okay.
That is very afraid of equity. It's
So is that a big mistake on his part that he's not that he's doing that, or is that fine to jam that there?
So he's
Cause there's
flush-
lots of scare cards, right? There's
Yeah.
tons of scare cards there.
like his hand is the best, but it's almost never going to be able to bet the river,
Right?
right?
Any
So he is just
spade,
Yeah.
any,
That kind of overbet, which is 2x pot. I think we fold out our flush draws, don't we? If we had ace ten of spades.
yeah, we have some combo draws here that are going to be in a real tough spot. So when he stuffs, he makes us call with all these kings, right? That he's ahead of with his kings and sixes. Right, so we're in here with king 8, king 9, king jack, king queen, king ace. He gets these values, right? Like it's just hard for us to fold ace king here. We have these hands too. So we have 89 locked up, but against 87, we're in a real pickle. 76, we're in a real pickle. 65, we're in a real pickle. 54, we're in a real pickle. Right, all of these sevens with an over and a flush draw are not really happy. Right, like if you have queen 7 here with a flush draw and second pair, and someone just rips pot in half or 2 pot into your face. Look at that one chip call off.
This is a common play actually in the low stakes.
Yep.
So it's interesting to see what our reaction is.
Yeah, I see this occasionally too, and like I mostly see this in the lower and middle stakes where people are too afraid of getting drawn out on, but this board is just so draw heavy and draw wet, right? That and we call it check raise, so like we have a lot of hands that contain a 7, that contain an 8, that have some spades.
We're looking at his shoving range here.
Yeah, so this is his shoving range, right? 24% of the time. And so he's shoving a bunch of spades, like all these spade draws here. Jack 4, 10-4, Jack 8 of spades, right? All of these spade draws are shoving it in. And then his value, king with a 4, king with a 5, king with a 6, king 9, king 10, king queen, right? All these kings are just stuffing the turkey. Right? Then what other values? 76, 65, 87, 54. Right? So
Can I have a question for you here?
sure.
I'm kind of stuck on at these pot odds, which of our flush draws folds out. And if we fold out combo draws. This is so. Yeah, so we fold out all our ace high flush draws. We fold out. So the only flush draws we don't fold out are ones with a made pair.
We don't fold the 7, and we don't fold. Well, we will be at the straight, right? The 54 or the 98.
So we need to make pair to call this ridiculous size for that with a
Yeah.
flush draw. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, like yeah, the 97's a gutter. Right? Even 10-8 suited, which is open-ended, or is a gutter and a flush draw, just isn't quite good enough. Right? Like it's losing 2.2 chips, needing a 9 or a spade to win. So
Thank you.
tough spot. All right, we'll do a couple more here. Ace 3, in or out?
she
Out,
gone, she gone.
He gone.
but I had ace, and I think that's good, right?
Yes.
This one we can play. It has the matchy on it. We're matchy. Oh yeah, we learned 5.5. Wait, but that was right when we're at the low jack.
I
Now
think
we're
it's
not the
big.
low jack
Maybe we go five.
anymore.
Still bigger.
Maybe
Yeah.
we go
Mhm.
5.
3 or 5 or both?
I do 3 because I'm scared.
Mixing. I'm gonna
keep-
mix.
I like to keep my
Let's do,
chips.
let's make it, took a quiz where we had to guess the frequencies and I did that. Cause
It's
I was
also
too
a rainbow
aggressive in my
board,
mix.
which is gonna increase our sizing, I think, so I think 5.
Yeah, I
5.
was gonna say 3.25 more than 5, but we got 5. 5 is what we learned, right?
Both are very well
They're
represented.
all correct. We're represented.
They work.
Diversity.
Yeah, there we go.
The motion of a big bet here, right? You can even find a little bit of overbets.
You know, I have not developed an overbetting flop strategy, and I probably need to, like, for deep stacked. But in 40 big ones, I don't have that in my repertoire.
Jonathan Jaffe has some really good sessions for that overbetting.
All right.
20.
I want to bet
Okay.
again. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I think we bet big. I think we go 80. I overbet.
Actually, we
13 or
kind of
20.
want him to have a, I don't know.
Well, he says all in.
I'm getting that itchy feeling in my fingers.
I don't think it's all in, but I also suck when that happens.
Yeah.
Or it could have enough
20,
equity
yeah.
to just want to realize, but I think betting is better.
Click.
We're checking back if we have a pair for sure.
Ah,
Yeah. See, smaller checking.
There we go. It bets smaller. Still mostly bet though, but yeah, like my palms would be itching with this hand. I would just be like getting ready to punt.
What's the purpose of going all in there though? I mean,
Generating a ton of folds with a hand that has no showdown. Like here's the problem. We get here. Having the king is good for us, right? Like that's a card pairing that we want. It's so good.
So does our combo, which is blocking his draws, which is bad. I think
Yep.
we might have some. I think this might be a bad combo to bluff. I think we might give up here sometimes.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
blocking his flush draw, we're blocking his straight draw, so I think it's a give up.
we do block
I
the
feel like
straight,
he
which
did
is
call
value.
2 butts.
blocking
So
all the
we're
cards we
blocking a
want him
lot
to
of the
have.
cards that we want to fold. But it also has no showdown value.
Okay,
so
so there are
we're pretty much screwed any way you look at it.
I wouldn't launch it, but
We want to block his bluffs.
I get that people like there are spots where you're gonna have give ups, and you can save 23 chips and just go on to the rest of the tournament. But
I
does
think
it-
it's the bottom of our range for sure. And you might be scared when the king comes. We're blocking. I mean, we can have the nuts here for sure.
Hey, I got a question.
Sure.
So does it matter, say, in a stage of the tournament where we're at, what we do here? Like
Well,
if
this
we
game is
are,
chippy right now.
oh, but okay, but I'm just asking, if we are in a later stage, do we try not doing this? And if we were like, say, in near the beginning of the tournament, we're not afraid to lose the chips or
if
mid?
we're in 1,000-person tournament and they're gonna pay 150 people, and we have 200 people left,
Yeah.
I can see giving up here,
Okay,
but because you're kind of getting close to the money. But if you're still 600 people to go, like I'm getting
Blast
ready to
it.
move
Okay,
buttons to
yeah,
punt.
okay.
No, it is a pure give up.
Correct. You need to have some fucking give up.
Need to have some give ups.
You just punted.
I just punted. We have hearts here, which is bad. We blocked the straight, which is actually like is good because we blocked the value of his completed straight. But we'll take a look at the whole range here, and see what type of stuff, because I don't know that we get here with much worse.
I mean, it's close to the bottom, but Oh, nice. So our bluffs are the 3s and 2s and 4s and 5s.
Yeah, we just have
Well,
some worse
5s are
stuff.
a boat, but our 2s and 3s, I was thinking our bluffs might come there.
Yeah.
Then we have a lot of value bets with our kings. So now our ace jack, ace 10 is too good and are just relegated to check. But we're still can bet ace queen. Got kings, queen 10, yum yum.
And 10-8, the one that it doesn't bet is the hearts. Because
Yep.
we block too many of he doesn't have enough bluff stuff here now.
Nice.
He doesn't have enough incompleted heart draws.
So our queen 6.
Queen
Queen
6.
X is the bottom of our range and plus blocks the straight as well.
So blocking the straight is good, but blocking the flush is bad. Blocking the flush draw is bad here.
Yeah, when you launch it there, you want them to fold missed hearts, so you don't want to have missed hearts at all.
Oh, but it gets through. Hallelujah. Wrong move, right result. Don't learn anything.
This is the bottom of our opening range, I think.
Hijacks.
Kind of, although it also will open that from the low jack and 30
Low
big
jack,
blind.
no. I think low jacks, no. You take it out. And there, it's a mix, right?
No, we can open it.
It's got a small mix in it.
It's cost, I think it depends on whose chart you're looking at.
It's definitely going to be at the bottom of the range here. Right. And so, yeah, if you move this to the low jack, it is definitely going to start folding this combo. And if you're finding a fold here, it's a tiny bit nitty, but not the end of the world. But yeah, low jack, you're definitely going to have folds with this combo. Oh. I paired board with a side card. Ooh. Our queen, so marginal. Bet 2, bet 3, bet 1. What do you guys think?
2.
I think it's 3 or 2. Right? Is it a factor that a lot of this king X, or some of this king X at least, just gonna through that?
He has some kings that 3-bet here. But he has lots of kings that flat, lots of suited kings particularly.
So I think we go 3 or 5 in the mind.
Right? If we had a king here, how big would we want to bet? Right? We would want to bet small.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So the smaller you bet, the more often you get to bet too. Oh, happy days. Gives us a nice big 3.5 check raise.
We can't full second pair yet. Yes, we can.
Whoa, look at this.
I
That
guess it's
is,
because of the sizing. That's a very large size and it's fully big line effective, isn't it? If there
yeah,
is-
3.5x. It's a pretty fat check raise.
That's a cash size. Check raise.
Oh, check raise, check.
Can we just try betting just to see if those silver will ever double check raise?
How big do you want to bet?
I think we polarized. I think we go 11.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, I'm totally off the charts now.
Yeah, if you had
I'm off
3
solver.
kings.
I'm off solver, coach.
All right, let's take a peek. It's into the red. Yeah, this is just a marginal made hand. Right? Are there going to be any big bets here at all? We'll take a look at the whole range.
I've left the
Especially
reservation.
that he bet big. He check raised big.
Yeah, there's no big bets here, right? It's either small or very small. Right? So, and part of it is the 5 of clubs doesn't bring any flush draws. So we don't, when we have 3 kings here, we're just not worried about getting drawn out on it. So if this 5 of clubs becomes the 5 of spades, we still don't see any big sizing. It's still all small ball. Even the flush draw can't discourage trip kings here. And he checks turn and checks river. Do we go for value with our queen now?
No.
So we check raise
No.
big on flop. Check twice.
Yep.
I'm not gonna have to go for thin value here. But maybe solve
I'm
this.
happy with this.
Essentially, if we bet big, then we're bluffing.
I am so greedy. I am itching to pull 13 big blinds out here.
But the question becomes, what calls you? I mean, what's gonna call you that's worse?
Worst queen,
Okay, fair enough.
right? Like that's it. Like there's nothing else that got here that's here. Like
Yeah,
it's
I
queen
just don't
jack.
think, I don't think there's enough for him to call you with, for you to bet.
I largely agree here. Check 10-9, like that's never gonna call. So.
That is a nasty check raise. Which I never
Gotta-
find, and I wish I would start.
Well, yeah, but like you saw how like we had a queen there and it wanted to fold that queen 80% of the time. That's a
Yeah.
good check raise.
Yeah, I never find that gut shot paired board check raise. It's awesome. Bow
Yeah.
down to our computer overlords.
All right. 7-4 deuce. Pocket sixes.
I think we might do a lot of checking.
Bet it. You gotta bet big, I think.
I think we checked because the board is happy. It's good for him. Getting check raised off our backdoor straight draw stinks, and we have a marginal made hand.
The marginal made hand, so there might be a component of checking here. If we bet big, he's going to mostly continue with the 7, right? I think this is going to bet small because he's going to continue with a 7, but he's also going to continue with a 4 and a 2 against our sixes. So our sixes are going to get one street of value from a 4, a 2, and they might get check raised by a 7. But we're going to get some value from some 4s and 2s here. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's a very small bet here. But we can take a look, see?
Oh.
Primarily checking, but it does go for a little bit of betting here. Right? And against the big blind, he can call you here with some stuff. You can get a bit of value with one hand. You can check a lot of safe turns. You can bet again on a 3, a 5. You have some cards that you're able to get 2 streets of value from here.
This is the spot where I make tons of mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
This is
Now
the
it
one.
goes check. Flop went check, check. We get to the turn. I think we want to go for some value here.
So yeah, I think we go to value here. Also, it's only from off base. I mean, we can easily call a check raise because we've got no. So I think we do go for value.
Okay, 3.5, 5.
I think we still size down. I would I feel like this is a very smaller bet.
Either one of those, yeah.
But maybe we don't do smaller bets. Well, we could do small bets on turn. Oh, I'm not sure, Peter. I'll leave it up to you.
Flush
Right.
draw.
So we block the straight. So he shouldn't have the straight here very often. We don't block the flush draw. So we want to make sure the flush draw pays. He's going to have some combos that have overcards. So I think I'm going to choose this size.
There we go.
I guess because we have so much equity in with our open that we get to go big.
And like when he checks the flop and the turn, he just doesn't have a lot of sevens left in his range. But you know, he does have a lot of fours, a lot of twos, and a lot of fives.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so the pocket sixes, for the same reason that I kind of wanted to bet the flop, want to get one street of value before the board texture changes here. Right? And we're not really afraid of like a 10, a queen, a jack. An ace is probably really bad for us because he's in here with all kinds of threes. But we'll see. A 9. I'm calling this a safe card. And I am greedy. I am going to bet 9.5 here a lot.
So if you go half pot here, what are you gonna do to check this?
That is a good question. I don't think he's going to check raise a 9 very often. Right? Like, I don't think this card generates a lot of check raise because the board texture didn't change. And we polarized on the turn with an 80% pot bet.
Yeah, we are double bluffing the straight draw, but not succeeding. Absolutely.
So I think I'm going to go here. It's even bigger if you want to go. It still uses that 80% size. When you bet 80% on the turn, you don't really get to size it down. If you do want to bet, you still got to bet this size. We'll see if we get check raised. I don't know what I'm going to do if we get check raised. Yeah, called us with one street of value with a gut shot and 2 overs and blocking some straight value himself with the 8. So not bad. All right, couple of snowmen. Ooh. Check or bet and why?
I think it's that small free board. I'd go 1.2 or 2.
Here's
Okay.
me betting bigger again.
Well, why do you want to bet big? You're only going to play against his queens. If you bet small here, he's going to call with a 6 for a 4.
That's me
And he's
making
not-
mistakes again.
No biggie. Hey, look, this is the spot to do it. This is the spot where it's free to do it. Right? So yeah, I got to admit, I'm on team micro bet and team minimum bet.
There
Team
we go, it's
micro bet and
1.2.
team minimum bet.
Lots of small bets though, eh? That's what I noticed. Always small. Cause then you
Yeah.
get a bet more, right? Like you said, you get a bet more when you're betting small.
Absolutely. If we take a look at this spot, when it comes to us and we look at the comparative ranges, you can see we're not checking very much there. Over pairs, we have 4% over pairs, right? Like he 3 bets all these pairs. So he just really doesn't show up with anything better than our pocket 8s. So he has a bunch of queens, right? Top pair. It's well represented in his range. He has all these queens, which is 11% of his range. But our compressed range actually has a higher percentage of queens. So when you add up the queens that we have, which is 17% of our range with our over pairs, which is another 4%, 21% of our range is top pair or an over pair. And only 11% of his range is top pair and an over pair. And our queens are better than his because we have ace queen and he doesn't because he 3-bets them. Right? So he's got some queen 7, some queen 2, some queen 3, some queen 5, all of which are just worse than the worst queen that we have here. And our over pairs you know, the 8s, the 9s, the 10s, and the jacks, well, they don't beat a queen, but they beat like all the other stuff where he has. Right? When we uncheck this and we take a look at the second pairs, right? He's in here with, why can't I get rid of the top pair? There we go. The second pair, we only have 3% second pairs. He's got 11% second pairs and 8% third pairs. So kind of the idea here, you know, particularly when she was talking about it, is this isn't a spot where we have to worry about protection. This is a spot where we're looking to get value from this portion of his range. 20% of the time, he has to put in chips that are behind our 8. And 11% of the time, he has to put in chips that's ahead of our 8. So, just a great spot for a small bet for us. Let's go back here. Small bet. And we get check raised. Ooh.
I don't think we get to fold to it.
Yeah, we're definitely not folding with the 8 of spades in our hand. He's gonna have lots of straight draws. He's gonna have some flush draws. He's gonna have some overs. Yeah, Al says bet small, call a check raise. Your call, we're still earning 2.5 chips here with our calls because he has lots of bluffs with straights and flushes. And we kind of block both the value of completing straights and completing flushes here. So, oh, the check raise check on the king. All right. King's good for our range, good for our continue. I think we're gonna check though now here. Wouldn't surprise me if it bets though.
I would.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's a high frequency check, low frequency bet 5. Very high frequency check, very low frequency bet 5. Yeah, just check this one. Oh, comes up with a big fat river bet when the flush completes.
I think we do
Not
our-
much we can do.
Yeah, well, we block the flush value though with the 8 of spades. Wouldn't surprise me if the 8 of if the 8's with the 8 of spades calls here.
I think it's a mix. I think we're indifferent at this point.
I think if you don't have the 8 of spades, you're probably folding, and if you have the 8 of spades, you're probably calling.
What was the action?
Oh,
He check raised us on
Yeah.
the flop, and then the turn went check check.
how long you been in here, Cap? I didn't see you.
Got here. I mean, it's
Oh.
close. We could probably call. He's gonna have queen. He's not gonna bet. Is he gonna bet queens? Yeah. I mean, we're really capped. We probably got to call. Not.
Just fold. But it's not that bad off. Maybe 9s because you unblock the other end of the straight draw that he can have here. Yeah, 9s with the 9 of spades.
It's really thin.
Very, very thin with these spades here. So,
I just blinked another fucking global, dude.
hey, congrats, my friend.
$1,100.
11 lobster. Wow.
Have you been playing much, Cap, or I always see you studying. Every time I look, you're studying.
I don't play that much.
Yeah. The studying's paying off.
I play about 50 a month.
Congrats, man.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
All right, raise it up. One. See what comes around. Ooh, flopped straight, lush draw, mid board. Ooh, I'm not gonna check very often here.
You say this will mix large bets and checks, I think.
Yeah, it's getting close. I think if this was a 10, it probably would. The bigger bets. Nope, it is just primarily bigger bets. High frequency check spot too, though. Generates some fold equity, gets rid of ace four. Wow, folds the ace of spades.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think I even fold that. Like, phew,
That's
times I call too much.
all right. Pocket threes.
I think we bet, it's a disconnected board. It's very good for us. We might be able to size up here,
We send the jack
especially with our holding.
I think it's a range bet.
with a low jack with an earlier position. It's gonna push that bet sizing up a little bit.
I
I'd
think
say
it's
3 or 5.
Take a peek. Primarily
It's always,
small.
yeah, lots of small micro betting.
You really
But
can't make a mistake, though.
40% of the strategy represented across the big bets. 50% of the strategy represented across the small bets and some checks. So you could definitely mix with this hand with the two big cards and the slightly earlier position. I like the bigger bets here.
Yeah, I like to split my range, like pocket threes. I'm just like, if I get anything to fold, I'm happy. But maybe I should be betting bigger more often.
Well, betting small is definitely also a very prominent part of that strategy. So nothing wrong with that. All right, 40 bigs. If we get 3-bet, are we stuffing it? Well, we don't have to find out yet.
I think we call.
I agree. So this one, 974. So all kinds of draws. 56 in the house, 87, 86 in the house. Marginal made hands in the house, flush draws in the house. Is this ace queen going to check?
I'm checking.
1.2.
I think we go 3 or 5
You're always
again.
safe at 1.2.
That's right. The smaller you bet, the more of your range you get to bet. This is incomplete equity. It is a high frequency check. This one benefits from generating a little bit of fold equity. So it wants to size up if it bets. But as Ken said, this is primarily a check spot. Check, but we will also take a quick look at the strategy here on this super draw heavy board. And so, yep, our compressed range, when we interact with the 7 and the 9, we get a lot of spots that want a big bet. As we move away from our connection to the 7 and the 9, we become a little more check heavy. Right? We want to interact with the cards that are going to not allow him to continue. Right? So when we hold an 8, he doesn't get to continue as often. Right? When we hold a 6, he doesn't get to continue as often. When we hold a 10, he doesn't get to continue as often. And so those ones use the bigger bet sizing and are more frequent. And these ones just want to show down a little bit.
Delayed Z bets are really great too. Like when you get, like when a high card, like when you check and any high card rolls off, you get to bluff a lot and it's really effective.
I think we just get here with a lot of better hands than this.
Run,
Yeah, it's
run,
probably a killer.
run away.
Oh,
Wow.
it is a gross call.
You know why? We don't block any of the backdoor flush draw. We don't block any flush draws is probably why we have to call.
Yeah, but guess what's gonna happen on the river?
If you have a single heart.
Six
or
of
singles-
hearts, 6 of hearts.
Yeah, if we had like offsuit ace queen with a spade or a heart, I bet we fold.
Yeah, all right, watch this desirable. river.
Oh.
Wow, easy bluff catch. Do we go for more value?
No.
4-5. Nah, he's got two pairs and straights and shit. I guess we can't raise.
All right.
We
Jared
do.
always wants to go for that.
Wow. Yeah. It's just
We
like, I
are-
feel like you're only getting called when you're beat.
Well,
Just like Viv says, why is poker so hard?
Yeah.
just like Viv says. Stuff the turkey and he folds. And he folds a 9. Look at that. All right. I don't think well, I don't think they're going for thin value like that. All right. Do a couple more. Oh, nice. King 8-7.
This is a smaller frequent. 2 or 3. 2.
Small
Two
and-
here.
So remember, you've seen this before. We can get value from an 8 and a 7 that he's going
This
to
is-
call with.
Yeah, this looks similar to the other king. What was that hand where we had eights? And I said,
Yep.
bet it, right? It's the same thing.
Yep.
I would check it.
0.2.
That's small and frequent here. You can get called by an 8 and a 7, and you can get check raised by a king.
I like checking tens only because we want him to have like tens and 10x and 9x to continue with.
Oh,
Just call.
easy call. Hope for a 10 on the river for the full house.
Oh,
Oh.
nasty.
Wow, let's just
Take
give
a little
up.
while. Take a little while.
Stick in his face.
Snap it in. 8 deuce. That's what you get for floating an 8 on us. Nice. So one thing we did see on that hand, and I don't know if you guys do this, when second card or third card pairs, you just get out that 10% bet.
Rock bet.
Oh, to the donk.
You just donk 10% when second or third card pairs because you have some 7s that you call with, you have some 8s that you call with. Makes it hard for him to play. Makes him
I do
shut
make
down
that
some
play
value on
sometimes.
his king.
Yeah, I use that play sometimes. I will often use it when it's the lower card, like 5, 6, 7. But it's a good play.
Ooh, 3-bet. Just call.
I fold anymore in real life.
I don't know if our calling range.
I think this one calls though. Ace 10 folds, right?
Yeah, ace 10 blocks the bottom, the bluff bottom, right? Like he doesn't bluff ace jack here, so
But yeah, when I'm playing in real life anymore, like in these softer fields, it's just a fold. For me.
Yeah,
Yep.
any micro stakes, I play in the micro stakes. When guys do that. Unless I see them, they have like 20K in earnings and stuff. If they got like a few $1,000s, I always know they always have it.
Yeah, unless they're decent, but most people are so linear.
Exactly.
They're like ace,
Yeah.
queens, ace, queen plus, maybe ace, jack suited and pairs and shit, king, queen, maybe like it's so.
Usually if they're doing it with ace queen, it's gotta be suited though. Those micro stakes guys are so, now that I'm starting to realize like, oh, I gotta, LP showed me like 3-bet, 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 and it works against those guys all the time.
you can see here in the solve that ace 10 is earning 0.01 chips. So if you want to defend ace 10 here for 1/100th of a chip, that's pretty marginal. Ace jack, half a chip, pretty solid.
Yeah,
Ace queen, what are you gonna do? Fold ace queen? Might as well go home.
ace 10's a snap fold if they're not finding 3-bet bluffs, which the majority of the people in the low and mid stakes aren't.
Yeah, and even ace
Or
jack.
micros and low stakes, I mean.
So you have plenty of suited hands that have a lot more playability here to call off. Remember our heuristic, right? We start by folding our bottom of our offsuit hands. And then we fold the bottom row of our suited hands. Then we fold the next row of our offsuit hands. Then we fold the next row of our suited hands. Then we fold the top row of our offsuit hands. And then we fold this top row of our suited hands. And when we get there, remember we wound up with Jack 9 in there before. You can wind up with Ace Jack, King Queen. You can fold King Jack here. So you can kind of find a couple of spots to fold out and then have a little bit of stuff that defends. Ace Jack's going to defend okay here because the solver is going to find lots of bluffs. Oh, half pot bet. Pretty nasty. Oh, is it
Fold.
trying to think, we like on this rainbow flop, all of our backdoor flushes. We're gonna have a lot of worse aces than this that fold. I don't know that this one's gonna fold.
I don't think we defend backdoor flushes with such a low SPR, especially facing that size bet. Even our backdoor flushes are folding. Like if I have ace jack of spades here, I'm probably full. Well, like if I have ace jack of hearts and diamonds, I'm definitely folding. Spades, maybe I have to call.
Yeah, but like we're still in here with like ace 6 of hearts and diamonds and spades, and so all of those are gonna fold, and that's gonna push this in, I think.
I fold.
Yeah, it pushes it in,
Yeah, you're right.
right? Because there's too many suited aces that we call that 3-bet with. Then we have to fold those on the flop. We don't defend backdoors, so it pushes that ace jack into the value portion. Right, as it folds these and these and these and all of this, and so
Yeah, it's
ace
zero
jack just
EV, right?
hangs in there, yeah. Right, and particularly the ace of clubs unblocking all of his bluffs with all the other suited combos.
Right.
So
When you and
Yeah.
Kep start talking, it sounds like the Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings. I noticed that, like, as soon as you guys started talking there, I felt like you guys are moving so fast and I don't understand it as good. I feel like it's like like I said, Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays.
yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's all good. But the difference, there's such the difference. That's why I don't show up to those ones and I watch them on YouTube because I sit there and I rewind it. Okay, those guys speak so fast. I'm not really getting what they say.
The best is when Ken and I fight for a while, and then afterwards we're like, "Oh yeah, you were totally right, Ken. I messed up that."
Or yeah, you're right, Pete.
It works
Yeah.
either or. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing that for 2 years. Either way, the relationship with look, and I'm gonna say this here, guys. The relationship that you build with people who you study with is the most valuable thing you can get out of all of this stuff, right? My game is significantly better for having people who have made me a better player, and Kenneth Keppel is one of them. So thanks so much for that, Ken.
Yeah, same to you, Peter. We're all getting better, man.
We are, and you are crushing it on global now, and yeah, it's going really well. So
I was,
Jack Ace.
I was talking to someone else earlier real quick. I was like, up until like I got on global, I thought it would never be possible for me to make a living playing poker, but that I could at least like not lose a lot of money and maybe break even and play the game I enjoy without getting killed, at least is where I thought I'd always be. But now that I'm global, I absolutely think I can make a living playing poker.
It is soft.
My God.
Right on. Yeah. And that's a thing, right? The smaller, less popular sites are going to face generally softer competition, but they have smaller guarantees and smaller things, and so yeah.
Play now poker.
Playnow.com in Canada. If you are
Yeah.
in Canada, Western Canada, you play some stuff. Ontario Pool, Dooley is absolutely annihilating that thing.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. What is it? Big Rig has been stacking it up there. Vince is doing well. Ace Jack 7. We have this spade.
Get it.
Make it hard for him to continue. Makes us want to. We go for our best value with our
Two.
highest ace. or
Two,
do
I
we
think.
small? Walking too many continues.
You're always safe with 1.2. Two though.
Yeah.
I would have bet two.
I gotta admit, I am itching for the slightly bigger size here, but I don't think two is gonna be wrong.
Oh, it's really big.
God.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't surprised to see this, right, guy? I'm surprised that there was 0 betting two. But yeah. Definitely sizing up
Get
with
it.
our best ace.
Yeah.
We want to play for stacks. Ooh,
Oh,
he leads. Oh, the board pairs, the flush completes, second pair. So, what is our opponent doing this with?
So this feels more blocker than it does inducing. I wonder if we get some raises here.
He has some jacks that he does this with. Has some flushes that he does this with.
we just have to call. There's just too much,
I
no?
think we might get some raises here.
The question is, do we get raises?
I'm gonna say I would never do this against population, but I say raise 8.5.
So if
Never
it's a
fold him.
small, it's because it's a small bet, we get a raise, but if he bet, say half pot, we can't, right?
I mean, my argument is that it's a small bet. My gut, which could be very wrong, is telling me it's not inducing, it's a blocker bet. And we have top pair and we're drawing to the nuts.
Oh.
So
I guess it's not the nuts, it's paired board, but drawing to it flush.
Well, I mean, we're also an ace away from drawing to the best full house too, right? So
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just
I think it's a
call.
raise. I think this is a unique situation when we get a raise. This feels blocker.
I think if we raise, we're gonna isolate his bluffs here, and we're going to only play against his value.
That's a very good point.
So when we raise, he's never gonna fold a jack, and he's never gonna fold a flush. But what he
And
might
yeah,
fold
yeah,
is a
that's good.
7.
Oh, we're gonna fold. We have tremendous equity and we're gonna fold out. You have a very good point. I think I'm gonna change my mind. I think it's a call. You have a very good point.
It is a
We do
raise.
get a raise.
There we go. We knew it.
That is nice. That is some discovery. I would not be raising here.
I mean, another argument for the raise too is that he has to continue with his draws and we've got a made hand.
So what is our raising range? It is not insignificant here, 17% raises. So it raises when we have 3 jacks. We're raising our jacks. We're raising our best jacks. We're calling our worst jacks. We are raising our best aces, kind of regardless of a spade. But when we have a spade, when we have the king of spades, we particularly are raising. Our naked king of spades wants to raise. When we have the 3 jacks, of course it does. It has some raises here with the 9 of spades too, with the king.
This is
Very interesting.
interesting. This is interesting. I wished I wasn't in chat. I missed some of this with LP, but I can see that we're raising way more than I thought.
Yeah, I would have thought this would have been a pure call, but like examining the 17% raises, all of our jacks are raising, our best jacks, a bunch of jacks are calling.
Do the they have spade block? I guess they don't care if they have a spade blocker. It doesn't matter, right?
No, the jacks are 3 jacks, right? They're good to go. Right? They raise more when they have a spade. Right? But yeah, queen jack with the spade sizes up for the rare size up. Jack 10 with the spade, rare size up. And then the full house pocket aces is the only thing that's really sizing up. Pocket 7s and pocket aces.
It's a cool spot.
It is. I am never finding this raise. That was a really good intuitive raise thought. When we
Who
do the
said that?
raise,
Who said raise again?
who said raise? Who said raise?
I'll raise my hand. I'll take the credit.
Wasn't anyone who goes to the Monday morning study session with Louis Philippe. Yeah. 8, 9, 9, 10 with one spade, says Al. Yeah.
Blew him right off his equity.
All right. Jack, easy raise. Ace, king, 3. Ace and king. It's gonna want to make us want to bet.
Yeah, I think this is a bet. too.
Is it another big bet though?
I'm checking,
And a couple is checking.
but I think it's gonna bet a lot small.
Not small. I think it's gonna bet a lot big.
We don't have a spade.
Yeah.
I think our range splits a lot here. I think it's gonna use a lot of different sizes and some checks. I think the spade will size up. If we have like king, jack of spade.
Okay.
This one I'll probably bet smaller check. Up, sizes up,
Yeah, size is up.
but does check.
Yeah, it was interesting. We took a look at this and the report side. And you can see that a big bet is very prominent in the range here. A small bet's not very prominent. But it is very polarized between check and bet big and even over bets here.
It's just because we have such a range and nut advantage, I guess.
Yeah, it's the compressed range and the big cards around it. And we took a look at the reports here. We go way over here to the aces.
Is
When
this
we
what you guys
see-
call aggregated reports? Is this what an aggregated report is? Or
Yep.
no? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Aggregated reports a slightly different format, but this is what it uses. Right, so yeah, like when we see these aces and kings, ace, king, X, just a lot of big betting here. But yeah, we used to have a guy who put together really strong aggregated reports that gave us great visuals of what we were doing. But Yoss hasn't done that for us for a little while. So this tool on GTO Wizard is pretty good. It's not quite as good as I found the old reports that we were doing, but yeah. This tool gives us an idea of lots of big bets, lots of medium bets, and some over bets here, right? And the over bets usually come from like an ace queen deuce, right? An ace queen 4. So yeah, range has a lot of big bets, but also checks. And when we check, he gives us the business.
So
Gotta
check
call one street.
Yeah.
Ooh, it calls, but look how poor a call it is. It even raises, but look how poor a call raised.
yeah,
that
raising
is.
feels bad.
Yeah. It is mixing in some folds here with second pair, second kicker. Ouch. We don't have a spade.
I mean, I'm
It was
calling.
mixing- It was mixing folds on the turn.
So card removal says we can mix here, I think.
Well, we're capped.
Yeah.
We check flop. We don't really check any aces probably on the flop or not many at all. So like, I feel like we have to call.
Yeah, I think we mix here. Let's flip a coin.
We have to call something. What do we have better? We have, I mean, we're gonna have not many aces. We're not gonna have, we're gonna turn some sets of eights, I guess. Outside of that, we're down to kings.
Well, we were barely calling this king. Like, do you think we're calling a pot, like an over pot bet with
Well, Yeah, I think when we get here, when we do call, I think we just, oh my god, like
He had
what?
two pair on the turn he had.
So I'm just thinking
Here it comes.
MDF. I'm
Yeah.
just-
I'm getting you thinking that, but like, ouch. We don't have a spade. There's nothing here except an ace.
And my reasons for calling is that the repeat ace reduces his.
Yeah, like he has a
probability of having an ace.
he has an ace or he has nothing. Yeah, like he just has an ace.
How do we how much are we over folding here? I gotta find more folds. Like I never fold that, honestly.
We're massively overfolded. But like polarized turn, polarized river. Right? It is folding.
Where do we get all these aces from? Can you normalize it? They're just slivers of aces, right?
Let's go to the last.
Oh, got a decent amount. So
Yeah, we
king
check-
nine calls.
We check these low ones on the flop. Right? Like
Yeah.
we're betting all our best ones. We don't have any of the best stuff. So we get here with ace seven as our best ace, really.
So then this is a function of, this is interesting to me in the sense that this is a function of having poor flop range construction. Because if we're over betting our aces, which I would have bet more than this probably did, then I think you have to defend more kings. I think you're just forced to have to call more kings. If you're all checking off aces. That
Yeah.
makes sense?
here- Yeah, it doesn't want to have a queen or a jack, right? That's very obvious here. So. Queen, jack, and eight, right? Wants the 9 and the 10. So I guess he gets here with queen high and jack high spades. Right, in his range.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do one or two more. Close it up. Well, oh, now the shoe's on the other foot.
Huh.
One big blind.
We got to keep him in, so. Right?
It's on the line, one big blind.
Goes big, and still, doesn't even care, still bet big. Ace
I
king,
think in these situations, I mean, you can pretty much do anything as long as you don't shove.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just like it just chooses all these things. They're all 8.74 EV. It's on lockdown. They're trying to get the chips in. So I can't even fish them in one street.
Do you guys ever check when you flop that well?
no,
How about
No.
when you flop a, how about when you flop a boat?
You just flick in one chip because that's what all your bluffs can do. If you bet that with your value, you can bet that with your bluffs.
That makes sense.
Right? And if someone's willing to fold to your one big blind, that's when you have trip
Right.
aces. And you're just gonna print with all of your bluffs in range.
yeah, I used to get tricky and check, now I just bet, man. But it's good. It's a little sad when they fold, but they just ain't got shit anyway, their range is so wide, they're gonna fold so much anyway. But you'll get, they're not gonna fold pocket pair, they're not gonna fold a king, they're not gonna fold some flush draws and shit, so you still get value with that small bet with portions of their range.
One chip.
Thanks for hanging out tonight, Gabriel.
See you, Gabriel.
Catch you next week.
I think we size down because it's a mono board. I think we go, yeah.
One, two, a little bit of check, just because it's really our best unpaired hand here. Right? King, queen, king 10, king, jack, maybe have a little bit of check here. Right? But I am betting one chip with 96% of my range here. Right? So yeah, I mean, it's checking 40%, but I am not finding this. I am chipping, betting one or two chips a lot here.
can I ask you a question about the tiny bet in game as population?
Sure.
So I have just begun incorporating this tiny bet, XR 1.5 big blinds on flop. And what I'm finding on global actually is that recreationals perceive that at weakness, so they attack it with significant raises. Is that something you guys experience?
So I've played a little on global, but not a ton. What I find on global is that people use big bets way too often,
Yeah, that's for sure.
right?
So which is another reason why my tiny bet is
Um,
perceived as weakness.
yeah. So on global specifically, I'm gonna have a lot more check and calls because people bet like 60%, 75% pot with mid pair. Right? Like they just blast. Like I do a lot of checking and calling on global. And I know it's not a great strategy. You want to be tight, you want to be aggressive, but I just put out a lot of traps,
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
right? Because I find people do overbet too often. And this type of bet, like putting in, one or two chips, you just get people who don't know how to defend well enough and they're just going to fold too much. But if you're finding people are attacking your weakness, well, guess what you get to do? When you have king six of spades, you get to bet one or two chips. Right? And sure enough, if you look here, king six of spades, that's one or two chips. Right? All these flush draws or all these flushes, particularly your high-low combos that unblock the queen or the jack or the 10 of spades, really want to bet here, right? Your king queen of spades, it's in a tough spot. It wants to get chips in for value, but it's hard for an opponent to continue against it. So it mostly checks.
What happens when you flop a set on a mono board?
You do not get to fold. So
Do-
we will
do you-
take a look at these sets.
In position, what do you do?
Yeah, in position,
You just bet small,
same thing, right? Cuz in.
Yeah.
Okay,
right? Like, so here, a set never checks, right? It has like about a 3% check, and then it has about a 3% size up for value.
but it's the same thing.
And it just bets and calls and bets and calls. It's just so strong here, right? That the only sets of aces have checks, right? Your other sets just never check. Continue. That call and turn check. Because now here, all of your sets just filled up. So he is going to still be here with lots of fives, lots of aces, lots of fours, and lots of single spades. I don't think we're ahead of anything here. Other than a single spade. Can we get value? Can we get enough value from a single spade to bet? Can we get a 4 to fold if we bet turn? Ooh. Thing high good enough just to show down.
Hopefully.
Tough spot. Just check it down. And just check it
Easy
down.
check, yeah. We got it.
87 off. Look at that defense. He defends a gut shot. No spade
3 outer.
against us. Yeah. Savage animal.
I'm surprised it doesn't have any bluffs on it. Any bluffs out of position on reason when it's at the bottom of his range. It's unblocking the draws.
Yeah, like I am surprised like he's not going for it with 87. Take a look at his river range here, because like,
I mean, I'd even bluff there.
so he is bluffing how much? So he's betting 56% of his range. And his 7-8 is mixing. This combo just didn't choose to do it. Right? His 7-8 suiteds will all want to bet a bit. His 7-8 offsuits just are giving up. Bunch of them. So yeah. Yeah, not a whole heck of a lot here. Play it fast, build the pot. Gotta go. Thanks, Pete. All right, thanks, Al. We'll see you next week.
Congratulations, Al.
Yeah.
He's the one that won, right?
Yeah, he's got to go find a way to spend his $1,500 tonight.
Oh, play it.
Oh, Al just had a bank too?
He finished 4th in the 1290 today.
Nice.
Yeah, 3,000 player field. 1,500 clams. Nice. All right. Ace 3, maybe out of range. Maybe out of range. All right, let's find a good one to end on here tonight.
Easy fold.
Six.
Yeah, we ended it on that one.
Ace 6, that sucks. I'm not.
Two more, one more, two more. We keep saying it. Two more.
Two more.
One more
Just two
fish,
more,
just one
just
more
two more.
fish, one more spot.
Oh, come on. Ace 3, Ace 3, Ace 6, Ace 3. Fold, fold, fold. Go fold the laundry. Jack 9 off. Really?
This is fold.
Fold, fold, fold. I'm finding a streak of all these terrible hands. Oh, okay.
There we
Fine.
go.
Now we can lose some chips. All right.
We're gonna flop a set.
Oh, perfect. All right.
Ding.
It is an ace with another Broadway card. It's going to want to size up. Disconnected from the deuce. There's very little draws here. And some checks.
I think three is gonna be good after what we've been saying.
Yeah.
Well, of
Go.
course,
And it gives us this.
I
What
decide
is
to
up?
size up and it goes small. I go small, it goes big.
I think if it had a king or a queen there, right? Or if it had a two-tone board.
Yeah, oh, it's a rainbow board, so that drives down our need to protect our hand. But look at this polar strategy. It is range betting small with blasts for value and blasts for bluffs. What type of sick stuff is this? But even this, like king 10, queen 10. But like just checking pocket kings. Betting queens and jacks, tens, all the same. This is pretty Coco Loco. Best aces, it's just over potting. This is a tough spot. All right, we give it the micro bets. Now we get a call. And probably very marginal, check, check. And check and do we go for thin value? Probably not. Still here with lots of jacks. King, queen.
Oh, poisonous 10.
Poisonous. All right, seven. Let's see if we can get in more trouble with this than the tens. Go. Okay. Queen 8-3.
Here's where I learned my lesson.
Okay. So
So I
we're
think
not
we-
going
I
to.
think- I'm sorry.
No problem. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think we just bet two.
All right.
1.2.
This one's a bit different though, because we have the 7 of spades in our hand. So can we size up a little bit?
Here's some arguments for that. So I think I want to check this hand. Because he might check raise us with some queens. He might call us with some queens. We bet those sizes. He's going to call us with an 8. So we're going to kind of value own ourselves to his middle pairs. And we're only going to get value from his 3s here. So I think this is a spot where check does pretty good for us.
The big blind can also check raise with lots of straight draws too, right?
Yeah, the 9, 10
The 9, 10 jack combos.
combos are all in here with some check raises. So I think I like a check here with this one. But take a look. Primarily a small bet. Does check sometimes. So definitely got the right motion going with a small bet. And we get check raised.
We can't fold.
Yeah, we don't block the straight draws that check raise us. We don't block, we do block the spades a bit. We have a spade. Is this a fold?
I just don't think we can fold a pair yet.
Oh, I think we need to call.
All right.
We're getting a little better than 4 1/3 to 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a call. Occasionally gets frisky. Ooh, he double barrels.
I don't think we can fold to that size.
It's a good card for him to be barrel. I guess we got to call again. Reevaluate river.
Well, when he check raises, he's supposed to barrel when he picks up equity with his bluffs. So the 6 probably didn't pick up equity with his bluffs, except for
10-9,
54.
9-7.
The 9, 10 does.
Yeah, 9, 10. He turns a double belly, which we block hard. I guess he
He's
has
gonna
enough.
have just front door flush. He's gonna have flush draws too that can barrel still.
Yeah, it's starting to get pretty thin, but
Yeah.
it is calling. You're definitely right. Nitty Pete's kind of sitting over here on the bench, but you guys are still firing.
Check.
Ooh,
Check and pray.
We're just gonna lose here a lot. Oh my god, and it knows we're
Yeah.
gonna lose, so it wants to go all in.
I never find this.
So
With the spade, I guess wants to bluff.
we called his check raise and we called his turn bet, right?
so it looks like we got a spade draw.
Yeah, we're trying to
This
get
is-
him to fold a
This
queen.
is super advanced class, turning our equity into a bluff.
Oh yeah. This is pretty
So-
darn spicy.
So like if I don't find the jam on this river, I have no business calling the turn.
That's the and that's the thing too, right? Like when you study a GTO line, if you aren't able to complete the GTO process, you can get yourself in trouble by taking the first step and not the second step. And yeah, like it is just ripping all these pairs. 4s are
So-
ripping.
So
5s are
solver likes to turn under pairs into a bluff because it's unblocking their fails. It's unblocking their failed draws, is that right?
To some
The
extent.
busted draws.
So yeah, and when we have a spade, like you can clearly see all these under pairs are going for it with a spade. Pocket deuces getting loose, pocket 4s, 5s, pocket 7s, pocket 9s. Right? 10s start to get good enough just to call. Or just to
So they-
check.
So sixes are pure shoves. But then tens, you can get good enough that you can call without the spade and you shove with the spade one.
Yeah, sixes and 8s are sets, but 7s and 5s and 9s, right, are the ones that go. So when we go all in, how bad is it? Well, he called 9, 10. Look at him check the straight on the river with a spade.
Pretty savage. You got thrown the river, so we were good till the river, then we got a bluff. Instead of just showing it down, we gotta give them the rest of it.
That is
I gotta
a,
run, guys.
Congrats
that's
again.
a